I'm Drew.
And I'm John. This episode and every future episode is dedicated to the horror hounds and smokers out there who want to expand their knowledge of the genre and have a good time.
On today's special episode, we're reviewing Sinister from 2012, directed by Scott Derrickson. Why? Because John and I love that movie and had to talk about it. Hopefully you've seen the movie if you're listening. It's not often that a movie gets our blood pumping, but John and I have been talking about Sinister for years, and we're ready to share our thoughts today on High on Horror. Interviews, reviews, and the latest news all rolled into one. Alright, well, before we get into our review, hey, looks like John got something for us over here. What you got, buddy?
I got a cone of that Guptilla.
What?
You know I was
Is that really the name?
Guptilla.
Like,
Guptilla. Guptilla.
Did you do that because I'm a Godzilla fan?
I mean, it was the weirdest sound of one. It's kind of light green color, 21% THC and barely any CBD, but we don't need the diet weed.
That's very true. That's very true. Hell yeah.
Here, you want to spark this up?
Yeah, I'll spark it up. Why don't you hit us with our synopsis?
So, as Drew said, Sinister is from 2012, and basically we have Ethan Hawke in the role of Ellison Oswald. He's a washed-up true crime writer. His last book, Kentucky Blood, caused some problems. And he finds a box of Super 8 home movies in the new home he's moved into to write his latest book. And they suggest the murder that he's currently researching is the work of a serial killer whose legacy dates back to the 60s.
This Guptilla is nice. That is nice. Yeah, Sinister is not a blood and guts movie. No sex, nudity, or much bad language. No bad language was written. What bad language there is in the film was all improvised by Ethan Hawke. This movie is just scary. Flat out scary. Rated R for disturbing images and terror. A true horror film. Originally, Scott Derrickson and writer C. Robert Cargill wanted a PG-13 rating, but were happy with the R rating for the reason that it got an R rating. The idea for Sinister was born in Las Vegas. Co-writer C. Robert Cargill had a nightmare after watching The Ring, where he went in his attic and found Super 8 films and watched one, and the opening scene and the opening scene of the film with the family hanging is what his nightmare was of. He bounced the idea off of Scott Derrickson in Las Vegas, and a week later they were at Blumhouse, and none of the other major studios wanted it, believe it or not, because they said it was too dark. And get this, no one believed that Scott Derrickson wouldn't kill kids in the movie. He was trying to convince the studios that kids would not get killed, and they didn't believe him.
It's funny that you talk about the blood, because I was going to say it's kind of like Halloween, where the original Halloween, it's not as blood and guts as you think it is. It's done well because of the storytelling and just the cinematography and also the same thing with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You don't see as much as you think you saw watching that movie.
I was just going to say Texas Chainsaw, correct. Yeah, like people say Texas Chainsaw's gory. The same thing with Sinister. They'll be like, that movie was brutal. And it's like, when you watch it, it's like, it was really just intense.
And I got to say, the Super 8 films are kind of like mini VHS clips.
I know.
Like on VHS, there's not much in the way of any kind of story there.
I could definitely understand that, yeah. And well, it's funny because like the script was actually written in 5 weeks, and Scott Derrickson said that the movie is about fear, and I mean, I completely get that. It's definitely about fear. But yeah, to get to what you were talking about with the home movies, here's a knowledge nugget for you. All of the home movies were actually filmed on real Super 8 film.
Yeah, and apparently the pool party one was a hard one to do. And the people were actually tied to the lawn chairs when they were doing that scene.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I would not sign up for that.
Well, let's talk about the movie for a second, though, before we break it apart. From concept to completion, the movie took less than a year. And let's talk about our first time seeing it. Now, I saw it in theaters with my wife and my wife's aunt at the time, Well, at the time, obviously she's still her aunt. I don't know why I said at the time.
she divorced her from being her aunt.
It's that Gupzilla copy.
Gupzilla get you.
But anyway, I saw it with my wife and her aunt, and we loved the movie. And then I remember when it came out, I made you watch it at my father-in-law's house on surround sound, and that was like the most scared I think I've ever seen you watching a movie.
Dude, it's funny because it'd been a little while since I watched it, so I rewatched it this week before we record it. And I'm telling you, man, the surround sound just really adds another element. I just didn't get it with just coming out of the TV. Dude, still the creepiest thing I still say is when you could hear the footsteps when Ethan Hawke's watching one of the Super 8s.
Oh yeah.
And you could hear like it travel across the surround sound behind you.
Yeah, it really makes you paranoid. Like I remember like you actually turned around and looked at the wall behind you as if you were expecting it to be like an open space or something.
Yeah, dude, it really I really want to get surround sound. It definitely adds to it. This would be one, you know what, that I wish I could have seen in theaters. You know, back to our Puff Puff ass, was it last week, 2 weeks ago, somewhere around there. The movie we wish we could have seen in theaters. I'd have to add this one to the list.
It was, well, I mean, I will say, like, I was happy that I saw it in theaters, but it was unfortunate because it was at, like, noon. So it wasn't exactly, like, the best time of day to go. You know, I always prefer to see my movies at night. Not that it matters because the theaters are dark inside anyway, but still, just if that, being in the dark kind of puts you in the mood.
Okay, I was going to ask, before you fucked me up with that comment, what was your favorite Super 8 film?
My favorite Super 8 film would have to be, I would have to say that it's Lawn Work.
I knew it.
Yeah, so we'll get into that when we break down the home movies. We'll get into that, but yes, definitely. So which one's yours?
Lawn Work, dude. That fucked
you too?
me up the
I know,
first time
dude.
I saw it.
Dude, I know. And well, okay.
It's just like, dude, I wasn't prepared for that.
That definitely is by far the biggest jump scare in the entire film, and it's not just like a cheap jump scare. Like that shit gets you.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I don't feel like I was expecting anything. I was just like, okay, where's this going? And then, holy shit, it goes somewhere.
Yeah, it really does. But let's talk about
shout out to 86 though. Year I was born.
Well, let's talk about Ellis Oswalt. Played by Ethan Hawke, and what a character that is. Like, okay, so this guy moves into a house where a prior murder had taken place, so he can put himself in the surroundings of the crime and write a book about it without telling his wife and kids. I mean, that is just fucked.
Nicole and I, because she watched it with me when I was rewatching, she's watched it before and liked it. I said this sounds like a conversation her and I would have, where his wife goes, don't tell him, after the sheriff comes and talks to him saying how he doesn't want him in town because of Kentucky blood and how like he fucked everything up with that. And his wife goes, why are they so hostile? She's like, don't tell me you moved in 2 houses down from where this happened. And he goes, no, we didn't move in 2 houses down from where we moved in. I told, like, even Nicole admitted he didn't lie. He didn't lie to her. But she said admitting the truth, still lying. I'm saying, but look, she asked directly, are we 2 houses down? No, you moved into the house.
But then when he's telling her though later on, or when he's telling her, it was it wasn't in the house. There's nothing to worry about. And she's like, it wasn't in the house, and he goes, no, it was in the backyard. Like the murder took place in the backyard. Like that makes it any better. And that just goes to show you though, like after Kentucky Blood, his big hit, which his true crime big hit. After that, 10 years has passed, and he's had 2 failed book attempts. And this dude is so desperate to chase fame that he is just putting his family right in the center of danger and has no idea.
And it's funny because he watches old VHSs of him on like talk shows and shit. And he can't take himself seriously when the guy asks him, is it about the fame and money, or is it truly about telling these people's story? And then you watch him on the show, he's like, oh, I've never wanted that. All I've wanted is, to have these stories told. And like he's sitting there drinking, and even he can't take himself seriously.
Yeah, all wallowing in self-pity, trying to get his life together and chase that fame. So yeah, like you said, just watching himself be fake. and seeing his reaction to it of like, man, I just lied. Like it's all about the money. I'm here 10 years later, going broke, still trying to chase the money.
Yeah, and it's funny because when you first suggested the movie to me and said Ethan Hawke, I was like, Ethan Hawke? And then, man, like, this is the movie. It really changed my opinion on him as an actor. Like, I had seen stuff he was in before and he was okay. And I was like, damn, he was really good on this. And then I feel like he's really found, like, horror's a good genre for him.
I agree.
Everything I've seen him in, can't think of anything that I didn't like him in that I've watched.
He's definitely got a good string of good movies. I've always liked him in Gattaca. Did you ever see Gattaca?
Nah, that's what I gotta watch.
That was good. I think I actually watched that in at Penn, high school. I'm surprised you didn't check it out. Maybe we didn't have the same class. I couldn't tell you what class it was though. If you had a gun to my head. Yeah. So anyway, Ellis Oswald, Ethan Hawke, he moves into this house where this murder happened, where this family was hung. This family of 4 was hung on a tree in the backyard, and he's trying to solve the murder and hoping that he can write a book about it and that it's going to be a hit. And basically what happens is he realizes, well, he doesn't realize right away, but by investigating, he's put himself dead center in the middle of a chain of murders that a demonic deity named Ghoul is
Babylonian times.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Ghoul he lives in images, and by Ellis constantly looking at these images and playing these movies, it awakens the demon, so to speak, and brings Ellis now in danger. And it's just a crazy, crazy movie,
dude. Fucking the lawnmower scene fucked me up. The other one was the first time that Bagul's just, it's like close up of him on the screen. You just see him turn and look at him when he looks away. I was like, oh shit.
I know. And then
I was not ready for that.
And you can tell that he saw it, but like he turns his head and looks, but it's almost like a denial. Like, tell me I didn't see that. Because, it's like I did. It's like you can see the look on his face because he looks at the screen like, did I just catch that out of my peripheral? And I would have never had the shit up on my screen like that to begin with. I would have been like, okay, this thing ain't natural. I'm out. I'm not messing with it.
And the other thing is when he falls through the ceiling, and then he goes back and he sees all these little hands like pulling him down. He slams the laptop down. I would have printed. I mean, he printed out all the other photos. I'd have printed that shit out and be like, "What the fuck?" and like show it to everybody.
I think that was the moment where he definitely realizes that some shit's going down. I think that was the true panic moment for him, a true panic mode. And in any normal setting or mindset, I agree. I think taking pictures and printing pictures would have been the right thing to do. But yeah, I could see why he slammed the laptop down. I would have been gone too, Yeah,
I was going to say also the family that was hung in the tree, they're the only kill that happens during day. All the other ones are at night.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's one of those, I didn't really, I mean, it's obvious, plain as day in my face, but it's not something that I actually thought of until now. But yeah, so like just the thought though of a demonic deity that lives in images, and and now you have someone like Ellis who has basically, how I had mentioned before, awoken the demon, and now you have this thing is intertwined in his life, leaking into his life, and he is becoming deeper and deeper involved in these tapes and these images with this Ghoul character, this demonic deity, and it's where the natural meets the supernatural, and this demonic deity Ghoul lives in images, and so having all these pictures hung up and constantly watching the videos, Ellis is just opening himself and his family up to this thing coming in and fucking his life up too, and that's exactly what happens.
Yeah, but Ghoul's a bad looking motherfucker.
He looks like something from like an 80s metal band, but he is awesome.
True, like maybe something from Iron Maiden.
Yes, yeah.
Anyway, what I was going to say is I wish I would have did it this time, but I always forget. And then I watch and when he goes back and you see Bagul in the later clips, I've never actually paused it and went frame by frame watching the first time you see it to see if he's actually there.
No, he's not. He's not. That's actually no. That's the thing. I thought that, and I actually had gone back and watched it. And I was like, "Hey, that's not. It's not there." And then a lot of people I've seen online try to say, "Oh, that's a cheat because it wasn't there in the beginning." But now it's there at the end, and they're just trying to add that in.
But I mean,
No,
he lives in images.
exactly. That's all that's saying when he goes back and he looks at the older images where Bagul wasn't in them, and the older videos when he wasn't in them. All that says is that because he's let Bagul in, now Bagul's in everything. That's all that means. So yeah.
And also, I want to know why each one. Well, no, never mind. I won't go there. I won't get into spoilers yet. But anyway, going back to Bagul, it's not actually based on anything. It seems to be from Babylonian times. Also, the city they're in, I think it's Chetwood, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it is Pennsylvania.
That's a fake town too. But anyway, there are deities, I mean, throughout like Jewish history, Coptic Egypt, Slavic, Roman. There's a lot of ones that there is actually like deities that eat children.
Yeah,
I mean, some kids deserve it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, especially kids nowadays.
I'm just joking for people flip out and say that I suggest eating children is cool.
That's something that we actually got in trouble for. That'd be wild. Like
I'm not Pennywise.
High on Horror is no more because John said eating children is okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so let's talk about so again, this character Ellis, he's just so hardcore chasing this fame that as terrified as he is, he's allowing himself to delve deeper and deeper into this chain of murders. All, by the way, which have one missing family member. Every video, every movie that Ellis finds in the attic that was left to him by Bagul, all the films in them have one missing family member, and that's part of Ellis's book, is that he's trying to figure out where the missing child. It's a child, and he's trying to figure out who the missing child is in every film. So that's part of the mystery, part of his whole book. But the thing is, he's pursuing it so hardcore that he has a deputy, played by James Ranson. And he has a deputy who he literally puts in his phone as deputy so-and-so. And throughout the duration of the film, even though this guy is helping him with information, he never asked him. We never
get his name.
Yeah, he never once asks what deputy so-and-so's real name is. He just doesn't give a shit about anything or anyone but chasing his fame.
He calls him deputy so-and-so over the phone to him.
I know.
He's like, oh, hey, deputy so-and-so.
But that just goes to show you how, like, he just doesn't care. He just wants this to tell a story and to be famous again. And if anything, this movie's, I mean, it's a story about fear, like Scott Derrickson said, but it's also a story about like when to just know when to let your dreams the fuck go, because sometimes like it ain't worth it.
I don't think I said it right. I think Chatford, Pennsylvania. I don't know if that's what I called it earlier, but that's the name.
Yeah, it wasn't. Well, that wasn't it, but I knew it was Pennsylvania either way.
Anyway, I wanted to say with the movies, they all have names. Who do you think's naming them? Do you think it's the kids or it's Bagul telling them what to name them? Because I mean, there's some good names. We got Pool Party 66, Barbecue 79, Lawn Work 86, Sleepy Time 98, Family Hanging Out 11. That's a clever one.
I know.
And then the last one. Well, it's not a spoiler. It's called House Painting.
Right. No. Actually, I think. If I had to pick, I think it's Bagul, because I think that like ultimately they're his movies, and so I think it's him naming them. And I think things like Sleepy Time and stuff like that has a childish ring to it, where you'd think it would maybe be a child naming them, but I think it's even creepier if you think it's Bagul, like, because he's like ultimately he eats children, and he wants to come through the images of people who look into him and take their children, and he wants to eat them, and it's like yeah, Bagul's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, and also I gotta say, like, Bagul made out pretty good. He got 2011 and 2012. I mean, before that, there was always a gap in years before he got a new video.
I know, yeah.
And why is every kid doing a shh with their finger over, like, who needs to be quiet? They dead.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so the whole thing of the movie is like, like you said, we'll just get into it. Is that
Spoiler alert.
it's the missing child. We find out later in the film, at the end of the film, that it's the missing child from all of the tapes that is committing the murders, because the Ghoul is influencing them to basically turn them evil, to kill their family, and then bring them into his world, where he can then absorb them and eat them, and they could become one of his children, so to speak. And yeah, it's just like, what a crazy concept for a movie. It's such a wild film.
I was going to say the other name that the kids always give in the drawings is Mr. Boogie. And I think I kind of like that name better.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, that's that childish ring to it that kind of makes it a little more creepier. I agree. Mr. Boogie does sound creepy, but I did want to say that what did you think of the scene where Ellis wakes up and the videos? I'm sorry, I keep calling them videos, where the films are playing by themselves. That shit is creepy. Like, just waking up to a snuff film with a demonic deity in it, just
And a
playing by
projector.
itself on the projector, waking you up.
Yeah, right? How the hell did that happen?
That to me is probably like, that's one of the creepiest things. Like, that's just that's that atmospheric horror right there. You know what I mean? Like, don't have to be a jump scare. They're just setting it up so that doing something like that just puts you on edge, where you just know in that house around Ellis, whenever he's around, that anything could go down. That, like, he's not alone.
And the funny thing is that you kind of learn at the end that Bagul, for some reason, don't necessarily know why, he has to force them out of the house that they're living in.
Yep. Yeah.
I'll give you my theory. I think that goes to spreading his influence. Because he's just reaching out to a new...
I mean, yeah. I mean, it could.
like a new area.
I could.
But it is weird that they have... That's the only thing that I'm just kind of like, I wonder why that has to happen. That they have to pack up and leave.
Yeah, I don't know. It is weird. Like, there's definitely, I think you could be onto something there, but yeah, that essentially is what happens, at the end of the film. Due to Deputy So-and-so's information, Ellis is able to piece together that every family that's killed in those movies had lived in a house where a prior murder had happened in that chain of murders. And coincidentally enough, Ellis is the house he just moved into is the former home of one of the said murders. So, yeah, basically he finds an extended cut, so to speak. I liked that he finds an envelope with an extended cut of all of the movies, and he watches them, and that's where we get the big reveal that it's the children at the end. And then he realizes that he's got some green slimy shit in the bottom of his cup, and he'd just been gotten by his daughter.
Yeah. And then... those kids are all creepy. Well done. I forget which one. I think it might even been his daughter.
Ashley, yeah.
It goes, oh, I like the longer cut.
Yeah, and dude, well, let's talk about Michael Hall Daddario and Claire Foley as Trevor and Ashley. They did a fucking great job. Like, those were very good actors for kids.
Yeah, like all those kids were creepy.
They actually auditioned 10 to 15 kids for each of those roles, and those are the Michael and Claire got the roles, and I'm glad they did, because they were very convincing. When Michael has the I'm gonna call him Trevor because that's his name in the movie. When Trevor has the night terrors, like, that scene is scary as hell.
When
like,
he's in the box.
Yeah. And Scott Derrickson's son, the director, he said that his son has night terrors. So basically, like, he takes his son outside, and that's what helps, like, wake us. So, like, that's why that's in the movie when Ellis, is carrying Trevor outside to, like, wake him up out of his night terror. That was taken directly from something that happens in real life. So there's a little knowledge nug.
Yeah, I didn't know that one. And somebody we haven't talked about is Vincent D'Onofrio as Professor Jonas. He comes off believable, just like... That's why I had to look up about his Bagul, the real thing. Like, he just very casually, it seems believable. And he went uncredited because he did it as a favor. And all he had to do was record on his laptop, so he figured he didn't need a credit for that.
Yeah, that's a very cool little fact. I didn't know that. But I did want to say, though, that something that I wanted to bring up to you, a fellow carpenter knight. I don't know if that's what you call him. I'm just gonna make that up. But your fellow John Carpenter lover, I was going to say one of the things about this movie, about Sinister, is that it comes off as timeless. It doesn't have like, I mean, there are cell phones in it, but that's kind of everything. But besides the cell phone usage, like the wardrobes and everything, like it's all like it could be at any point. Like it just seems like it doesn't really have like almost like a Christopher Nolan movie where like the clothing is done in such a way it could be at any point. You know what I mean? And anytime, like I would say after the 70s, and there's no bell bottoms, but anytime after the 70s, and the wardrobe, like Ellis's sweater. That sweater that he's always wearing, like the wardrobes just make everybody seem like such real people because it's like real clothes on people. You know what I mean? Like it's like that's one of the things that makes the family, just like in the Conjuring films with James Wan did, it makes the family believable because like they're wearing real clothes and they're talking like real people.
Yeah, and like I almost was going to mention about when I said like you don't know why Bagul needs the family to move before the kid kills them. That was very Carpenter-esque. There's a lot of stuff that isn't explained that you're not supposed to know.
That's very true. And actually, to bring back the sweater, Ethan loved the sweater, and his character was supposed to, like you had brought up when he falls out of the attic earlier. Remember when like the ghosts grab him? So in that scene, that was originally written that Ellis was going to fall and cut his arm, but Ethan loved the sweater so much that like he didn't want to take it off. He didn't like nobody could figure out a reason why he would take the sweater off to get his arm cut in the attic, so like they wouldn't have a visible cut. So like down to the line, they couldn't figure it out, and Cargill, the writer, just goes, "Hey, you know what? We're just gonna make it his leg." He cuts his leg, so he got to keep the sweater on.
Yeah, actors are weird about stuff sometimes. Sometimes they gotta do some weird stuff to get in the character.
Absolutely. What about, again, bringing up Carpenter, though, how about the cinematography? Those bright pastel colors during the day, and then the dark black and orange in Ellis's office
like
at night.
Dark, like at points.
Yeah, like even when the light's not orange, like Ellis will be wearing an orange sweater. It's always like a black and orange tone, like coloring, and it's very Carpenter-esque, and especially when they go outside at nighttime, and it's those cold blues that you love. I know you love those cold blues, those cold dark
like,
blues.
80s blues for night. Like, Fright Night's another good one that did those.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bring that up anytime I can. Yeah, but I definitely, like, even in Halloween 4, they had some good night scenes with those blues.
Yeah, I agree. And in Terminator 2, James Cameron loves the blues.
Yeah, but that's probably the best that's been done.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would agree with that.
Damn, I want to watch State 2 now.
I know, right? We're going to have to do a High on Not Horror episode and do a Terminator 2 review.
Oh, that'll go way too long.
Yeah, I mean, I could legit stop what I'm doing and talk about that movie for 4 days right now. So, yeah, let's not get into that. Here's a knowledge nugget for everybody out there. If you watch the film and you see all of these Apple products like the iPhone and the laptops and stuff, that, yes, it's product placement, but it was just given to them. Apple donated all of that stuff for the film, but they didn't get to keep it, unfortunately.
Oh, I wanted to say, we're talking about the kids. Burn of the fucking movie is when his daughter says, "Don't
Burn
worry."
of the movie. That's just okay.
Dude, fucking you can't tell me he needed some aloe vera for that burn. When his fucking daughter says, "Don't worry, Daddy, I'll make you famous again."
Oh, yeah. She's going to drop the mic on him as he's out. As he's about to go down, she's just going to drop the mic on him.
But according to co-writer Robert Cargill, Bagul, Mr. Boogie, was originally intended to look more like Johnny Depp, like his version of Willy Wonka. And after going over the idea, they decided that a deity that looked like Willy Wonka would not be too silly for the film and not scary or mysterious enough.
I mean, I would agree.
There's a photo that was found on Google Images that Cargill bought the rights to, and this was the basis for the final Bagul as we see in the finished film. But dude, could you imagine if Bagul looked like Willy Wonka? From like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka?
Like maybe it was because he was supposed to like lure children. They wanted to make him like that, but I mean,
Dude,
that'd be terrible.
So
that would be terrible, dude. Oh my god. I mean, the crooked man from The Conjuring 2 reminds me of Willy Wonka, like Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka, minus the whole like head and weird smile and that little cut that he's got going on. I don't know. The suit, it just gives me that Willy Wonka vibe. I'm probably just saying some high shit right now. But okay, hold on. At the end of the film, I love how the movie ends. Not that, if there's anything that we're going to talk about, that's fine, but still about the end of the film or whatever. But pause. Josh, you can erase that like last 20 seconds. Anyway, I like how at the end of the film, you see Bagul look at you. Like the way that he looks in the film at Ellis when he's watching, you see Bagul look at you right as the film cuts to black, saying that, you, the viewers, are next because you just watched all of his snuff films the way that Ellis did. That is just so beautiful. I think that is just so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any complaints with this movie. I think it's well paced. I mean, just talking about it, I kind of want to watch it again, even though I just recently watched it.
All right, so I guess before we get into the breakdown, before we break it down, let's do our rating. We've already reviewed it, so let's do our rating and move on from there with the breakdown. As a whole, 9.
Yeah, I'd give it like a 9.4. Like it's pretty damn good.
It's up there.
It's definitely doesn't get enough praise. It's not. More people should see this movie.
Yeah, I think that one of the problems was that a lot of people who didn't see it lumped it into that whole category of like, the Insidious movies that were coming out and just saw it as like one of those, another supernatural. And that's a shame it got lost in the shuffle for some people because it's so much better than the Insidious movies and other like, paranormal movies that were coming out at that time, like The Last Exorcism and shit like that, or the Devil and I. Wasn't that what? I think that was the name of that movie. A terrible movie. I can't even. Is that, The Devil Inside? There it is. The Devil and I is a Slipknot song. The devil, the devil inside the movie. Anyway, all these supernatural movies about demons, and then you have Sinister come out about a demonic deity. I can see how people kind of were like, another one. It's kind of like another zombie movie. But no, like this was one that that if you haven't seen it, you should have focused in on. And if you're listening to this episode and haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. Like seriously.
It's funny you say that because I mean the poster up top literally has from the producers of Paranormal Activity and Insidious.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
So if you were wore out on those movies by that point, that didn't really help it.
Yeah, you're just like, or if you didn't like those movies because it's so much better than them. It's such a different movie. But yeah, you see Paranormal Activity and Insidious, and a lot of people don't like either of those. So you see that and you go, yeah, now I'm good. And it's like, duh, that was the one to watch. That was the one to watch. All right, so you wanted to do a new rating system? What's up?
I was going to say we could break it down out of 10. What would you give the acting?
Oh, man, Ethan Hawke tears it down, man. I mean, even just going off of what he did, everybody did a good job. But as a whole, all the acting, 9.5.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I was going to say like 9.6, 9.7.
I mean, that's fair, too.
The only down point I would say is if you had to pick anything out about the acting, maybe his wife was a little stiff. But, I mean, she doesn't... She has a part in the movie, but it's not large. It's really, honestly, a lot of just Ethan Hawke by himself. And you're just following his experience.
I do feel that she has a good chemistry with Ellis. I do feel that Tracy has a good chemistry with Ellis, like on screen. Like they get along well. Their arguments are convincing. Their dialogue to each other back and forth is convincing. But I can agree overall that they're a little stiff. But with everything considered, 9.5 is still, to me, that's good.
But I mean, I'm not even saying she did a bad job. I'm just, if I had to nitpick anything, on the acting,
absolutely.
What about cinematography?
Yeah, that's another. I mean, it's beautiful to look at.
I don't want to give out 10s.
It's beautiful. Like, it's a beautiful movie to look at. I'm not trying to grease its wheels, so to speak. But if I'm being honest, cinematography, 9.5.
Yeah, I mean, I would give it a 9, like a 9.2. Like,
it's really hard to find things about the movie that are unlikable.
And then I was gonna say story.
Oh, story 10. Story 10. The story is a straight 10
10
for me. I mean, the story is everything, and it's just such an original, creepy.
I'd give it like a 9.8. Like,
I don't want to give it a 10, but I'll give it a 9.8. I mean, close enough.
I don't want to give out 10s.
I mean, I know, but I'm not giving out 10 to the movie. I'm giving out 10 to the story.
No, I
the
get
story.
you.
The story is fucking the concept. I mean, if somebody pitched that shit to me, if I had money like that and somebody was like, hey, I wanted to make this movie and it's about this, demonic deity that, comes to life through pictures and eats children and all this shit, I'd be like, yeah, sign me up. Like, that's definitely not something that we've seen before. So I love it.
Yeah, I don't understand why I got passed on so much.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I love this movie. So any other ones you wanted to break down? Or how about score? What did you think about the score?
I mean, it was okay. I mean, I liked it. It was nothing spectacular that blew me away.
Yeah, the score probably would be. I'm not gonna shit on it or nothing, but score. I mean, it's funny because it's like shitting on it, but no, it's like 8.
Funny. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
like
so
8.
it's still not really shitting on anything. I mean,
But I mean, there's nothing that when you tell me the score of Sinister, I can go, oh, that song. Or I think of like a scene or something with the song. There's nothing that really. I feel like it was more. I mean, it's a jump scare movie, but it's not a jump scare movie.
It's a real horror movie with jump scares. Just like Halloween and Friday the 13th, horror movies have jump scares. But you're just not supposed to be all fucking jump scares.
Yeah, like a Friday the 13th towards the later ones.
Oh yeah, that's all it was.
But then, like, you're not even scared because. One's coming. That's what she said.
Okay. Are you ready to break the movie down? Are you ready to go into our breakdown?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So first off, well, let's break down. I wanted to break down the home movies part of it. So for those of you listening who have seen the movie, this will be a chance for you to learn something if you haven't figured this stuff out already.
Get learnt.
Yep. We're not going to do a burn and learn this episode, so this is as close as it's going to get. So for the first film, Family Hangout, the Stevenson family, that was actually... Are
you going in order from the movie?
Yeah, I'm going to go in order from the movie and just, we'll break it down. Here's something that I thought was just astonishing. The tree that the tree that the family is hanging on is a fake tree. The production designer, David Brisbane, came in and made that tree. That blew me away because that tree looks real as hell. And it isn't until later, again, we discussed this, that you see Mr. Boogie in this first video because he has not been awoken yet. Ellis has not become involved enough yet to wake him up and say, hey, okay, like, let's come on in. He didn't open the door yet. So you don't see Ghoul in this movie, but... he does come back to it later on, and he is in it. We discussed that earlier. So what did you think of this, John, about this movie? Like, it's the opening scene of the film, and to me, like, it's just disturbing. When I first saw the opening, I was like, well, that's disturbing as hell.
Yeah, then the extended cut's, like, even creepier.
Yeah.
Because you end up having the daughter goes and swings from the father's legs.
And that's
and
brutal.
Ghoul's just, like, chilling in the bushes. Always creeping, man.
I know. He's definitely always creeping. And so then we get to the second tape, the barbecue with the Martinez family being torched in their home. That one was hard to watch. That one's kind of like these snuff films really
in the
legitimately.
Home garage, yeah.
Yeah, it really doesn't like. That's the thing when you're watching these movies, they're done in such a way that it is really disturbing. Like you really do feel that you're watching these like snuff films with Ellis.
Yeah, this one, I feel like you didn't get much from the extended cut except just knowing what you already knew. Like after the first couple, you knew that each one was going to be the kid it was missing. I feel like this one, you didn't get much in the extended cut. You just saw the kid.
Correct.
Because, I mean, he burned them in the cars, like, with gasoline. There's not really much more to, like, show.
Right, that's right. It's, yeah, like you said, I think the little kid showing up was just a way of just, because there's probably some dumbass audience member out there during a test screening that would be like, oh, it didn't show who did the killing in the barbecue video, so was it a kid in that one? So they probably had to just be like, here's a quick shot of a kid just standing there, running by.
Once again, all the kids coming to the camera trying to like shush the away crowd after they score a touchdown.
But Ghoul has noise irritation apparently. But okay, and then tape number 3, pool party. This one, the no last name of the family is revealed. Boogie shows up for the first time in this film, not because this is a film where Ghoul is already in the movie. No, this movie is just like all the other ones. He wasn't in any of them, but now that he has been awakened through Ellis, and Ellis has opened that door and allowed him in, we see Ghoul for the first time in this tape. This is him basically saying touche. He's like, okay, it's on. We're involved in each other's lives. And making that choice to watch this movie and become deeper involved is why Boogie shows up. And from here on, it's on.
Yeah, like you said, it's the first time we see him. And dude, I remember just the first time I was like, this dude, like, that's a creepy ass design. And I'm like, well done. Like, I feel creeped out, like, fucking looking at this thing.
Yeah, well, one of the things actually, now that I bring it up, was I was gonna say, like, I wonder if, now this is something I might be overthinking it, but like I wonder if like maybe Bagul was in those videos from the start, but you had to believe in him to see him, because into the end when you like, I don't know, because
that's kind of where I was.
Yeah, that's what maybe like instead of him just like showing up saying like, boom, I'm here, like it was like, I've kind of been here all along, but now that you believe in me, this is the first time you're seeing me. Like, yeah, because then when he goes back and watches them, he is in them. So that's what I think. I don't think maybe Bagul's specifically making a point to go, let me just be in everything he's watching now and make an appearance. It's kind of like you're seeing the full picture now, so to speak. So I just figured that out, and cool. I mean, that's where you went with it too. That's what you would thought.
Yeah, I just figured, he chose to reveal himself.
Yeah, but you think that he was in the other films as well? Like it just because Ellis didn't believe, so to speak, or hadn't like invested enough to indulge in it, that he hadn't revealed himself. Like I said, that thought never even dawned on me till just now. That's why I love talking about this shit. I never even thought about that. Yeah, anything to say about Pool Party before we move on to Lawn Work?
Pool Party's a rough one, and like I said, like they actually had to they had actual people tied to the lawn furniture, like getting pulled into the pool. Chronologically, that's the earliest one. That was the first. It's funny now that I think about it. It's the first time we see Bagul, and that is actually the first video.
There you go. Perfect. So yeah, because he doesn't watch them in order, but that's like like you said, chronological. That's the dated one. It's dated as the first one.
66.
So you're right. So that's technically the first tape, and that's the first time that Ellis sees Bagul. How fucking cool is that? You just tied that together. Another thing that's awesome. There
I'm
you
sure
go.
people figured it out, but like I don't know. It was just came to me now because that's chronologically that was the first one from 66. That was the earliest dated one.
Yeah, that's awesome. But good to go on that shit. That makes total sense. I don't know if that was done intentionally or not, but that's a hell of a cool coincidence. That's really cool. So okay, number 5, Lawn Work. I'm sorry, number 4, Lawn Work. Man, like I said earlier, this is the biggest. I'm sorry. Pause. Yeah, I screwed up, but they're out of order. I need to go. It's Sleepy Times next, and then it's Lawn Work. Okay. All right, and number 4, Sleepy Time, is the Miller family killed in their beds. This one is another one that's hard to watch because it just feels like a pure snuff film. The only gore in the film in this scene is when you see the though you don't know it's the kid yet, but you see the hand with the knife slit the mother's throat, and you don't see it on the film, but you see the reflection of her throat getting cut in Ellis's glasses as you're watching his reaction. I just thought that was beautifully done.
Yeah, and they killed a kid in this one. Kid on kid violence.
That's true.
Sleepy Time was a rough one, but that's the only video has the only potential survivor in it, besides obviously the murderer.
Right, correct.
But the Chihuahua.
Yeah, and that's when he sees Ellis sees the big ass Bagul symbol on the wall, and that's when you're like, what the hell is that? That symbol's wild, man.
Yeah, I don't know who designed them, but
again, looks like a metal band from like the 80s,
yeah,
doesn't it?
Exactly.
But yeah, that's another rough one. Just watching people, just helpless people, the Miller family tied to their beds rather, just being plucked off. Like it's just what a just brutal display of just violence for like no apparent reason.
Yeah. But up next we got the most fucked up one,
Yes.
I think.
Yep. Which one?
Lawn Work.
There you go.
86. Dude, that jump scare in there is well done with that scream. Like,
Dude, it's right as it happens. My God, dude, that jump scare is masterful. That is up there with the descent when the pole flies through the window and impales. Again, I'm terrible with names. Impales the main girl in the head. The descent, that scene in the descent is still one of the biggest jump scares to me, and I would put this lawnmower scene right there with it because it just fucking goes on and on and on, and then it's just like rah! And you're just like, holy shit.
And that's another one that you're like, they got fucked up with lawnmowers, but you didn't really see it.
It was more about it's what you didn't see that fucked you up, and what you did see was enough to startle you.
I mean, barbecue's a rough way to go. I mean, they're all rough ways to go, but I don't know. Is the lawnmower the worst?
Yeah, I think the DeLuzio family probably got it the worst. I mean, the lawnmower is rough. I mean, it's lawnmower over the face, bro. I mean, like, like while you're alive, like screaming. You know, that's.
But I mean, the other ones you're burning to death, suffocating. Yeah. Sleepy Time probably got it the easiest. Was quickest.
I agree. Yeah, Sleepy Time with the Miller family. Yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
But I mean, like I said, I think that one they probably got it the easiest out of the other ones.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But again, when you brought up Sleepy Time, I thought of the throat cut again. I was like, it might be the easiest of them, or the least hardcore. But they're all. I mean, dude, hold on. If somebody came to you and said, "Hey, check this snuff film out," and you put it in, and it's somebody running people's heads over with lawnmowers, I would take it and throw it out the window. I would be fucking traumatized. And it's like I can see why the film got an R rating. It is very dark content.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't see it per se.
No, but they do make the film and atmosphere carry that dread. That helps. You know, it never lets up. Like once Ellis starts watching these movies, you're on eggshells.
And actually, well, you know, maybe the next easiest one, depending where you got hit, was the final one, house painting.
Yeah, depending on where you got hit. I like how you put that.
I mean, if it's a nice clean chop, then you're good. But yeah, I mean, once again, kids getting killed again.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. We talked about how everybody else is, how all the other families got killed. How did the Oswald family get killed?
Like Lizzie Borden.
They got chopped the fuck up with an axe. Yeah, and then I love how the little girl adds the drawing on the top of the box at the end. Adds her family, like it's like all the kids after they do the murder draw their families, and you just see all these different little body parts everywhere, like in a kid drawing. It's so sinister, fittingly sinister.
Yeah, and then she paints a mural on the wall of Ghoul.
Yeah.
In blood.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And then, just like all the other kids, go to the camera and do a shh.
And then Bagul, carries her through the threshold into the celluloid, and she is now one of his children.
Yeah, and all them kids turn around real quick when he was going after her.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But let's talk about Bagul now. I actually time-stamped this because a lot of people don't know this, and this is something that like kind of again just fills you in on that atmospheric horror where there's always something going on even if you don't know it. Later in the film, let's start at the beginning. Okay, 9 minutes into the film, in the attic, Ellis finds a scorpion when he finds the box of films. That was to say that Bagul left him the box of films. At the 42-minute mark, you see a snake in the attic. And then at the 57-minute mark, you see a black wolf in Ellis's backyard looking vicious and growling at him. Now, at the end of the film, you see that Vincent D'Onofrio tells Ellis, he's talking about Bagul and some research that he had done, and he shows him some pictures. And if you pay attention to the pictures, that Ellis is looking at that have been sent to him, you will see that on those pictures, one has a wolf, a black wolf, and on another picture there's a snake, and on another picture there's a scorpion. Now, a lot of people haven't tied this together, but that is telling you that those are all different forms of Ghoul. So when you see that scorpion and snake in the attic, that's Ghoul. When you see that wolf in the backyard, that's Ghoul. When you see Ghoul as himself in these photos and pictures, obviously that's him. So the point is, right away from being in the house, right away, Ghoul was everywhere. And a lot of people don't know that. And I just think that that's a really cool thing, that Ghoul isn't just this guy. He is technically a shapeshifter. I don't know if you want to call him a shapeshifter, or he has other forms that he can transform into to creep around. Like you said, he creeps. And it's like, yeah, this dude he can be anywhere. And it's a very cool little fact. Very cool little facts.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't know that. And I got to ask, though, Ghoul got the gabagool, though?
Oh shit. Well, all right. Here's a knowledge nug. Earlier in the film, when Ellis and Vincent D'Onofrio speak for the first time about Ghoul, that was done live. There was no takes done of that. It was Ethan Hawke and Vincent D'Onofrio in the same house in different rooms Skyping, and Ethan Hawke actually had to show Vincent D'Onofrio how to Skype.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me. I feel they're probably used to people just having shit set up for them all the time.
Probably.
Living life. I saw a thing that Robert Cargyle, the name for Ethan Hawke's character, Ellison Oswald, was inspired by Harlan Ellison and comedian Patton Oswalt.
Oh, well, I mean, there's the names for you.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt's apparently a big horror buff.
Oh, wow, maybe we should reach out.
Yeah. I mean, he got to bring the weed, though.
Yeah, he's got the good.
But, yeah, Ghoul is... do you know who designed it? Because, I mean...
No, I mean, I've done all my research on all the technical aspects of the film. I've never... I think that, honestly, I mean, we can look into it. I'm cool with that, but there's certain elements of films that I just kind of like leaving the mystery to. And that's kind of one of those things where I don't even know who the actor who played Ghoul is. I never even looked him up. It's kind of like I don't want to know.
Nicolas
Like,
King.
they're going to say Nicolas Cage.
It's time to step in the cage.
Okay, so it was what was that you said? The name?
Nicolas King.
Nicolas King was the designer?
No, he was the one that played Ghoul.
Oh, he plays Ghoul? Okay. Yeah, there's certain things about movies that I just I don't want to know, because Ghoul is such a creepy character to me. Like, knowing who the actor was, I feel like that would mess it up for me, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But luckily, I no offense, I don't know what he looks like without the makeup. So, but yeah, like there are certain things like I just like preserving, and I don't look into certain things. I'll look into how a movie was made and things like that. But when it comes to like certain characters and stuff, if they scare me, I try to keep it as knowing as little about it as possible, so it keeps scaring me.
Yeah, apparently for the underwater scenes, he had to wear weights and stay underwater for several seconds. And apparently with a lot of the stuff with the Super 8, they had to like take care to make sure the camera was rolling properly, the cartridge and light meter were working, otherwise they'd have to refilm it over a bunch of times.
Yeah, and the 16mm film is like super delicate because it's film, so to not scratch that shit up was like super hard. To like, they had to make sure they were handling that shit well.
Dude, I just know from working in the movie theater with 35mm, we had to like be super careful and take like two of us to carry like a whole like reel of film.
Yeah, so you can only imagine. Yeah, that's what I like about Scott Derrickson, and no, not to shit on David Gordon Green, but we were talking, in our Halloween Kills review about how the grain in the flashback scenes was done digitally, and it's like Scott Derrickson would have never have done that. He is a hands-on director. This dude will say, hey, if this is old footage, then you know what, we're filming that shit in 16mm, and it's going to be real 16mm. We're not going to digitalize it and make it look 16mm, and you got to appreciate that. I mean, it always shows like, yeah, Sinister 2 is a better movie than Sinister 2. Sinister is a better movie than Halloween Kills. I'm not going to deny that. But, yeah, I mean, in regards to the whole David Gordon Green using CGI to create grain. I mean, that's cool, but hearing that somebody actually made the effort to put it on film, that's the cool thing to me. That's what always is going to make me go, I want to watch that one, because it's the authenticity to it. And it's not that there was corners cut. Halloween Kills is a huge budget movie. It's just that, it's a little bit more effort. You got to appreciate that little bit more effort that was put in for that to really be 16 millimeter film.
Yeah, I mean, Scott's a good director. I mean, I agree with you that he would have put the work in. I mean, he's done some good stuff, like, Exorcism Emily Rose we've talked about.
We're going to have to do that as a special sometime.
And, he did, I'm trying to think of the Marvel movie.
Doctor Strange.
Thank you.
Yep.
I couldn't think of it.
That was good, too.
Yeah, and that was one of those Marvel movies that I was like, I don't know if I want to see that. And then, nobody told me that Rachel McAdams was in it, or I would have just saw it immediately. But, that's one of the better Marvel movies.
Agreed.
Is he doing the sequel?
No, I don't. I think Sam Raimi's doing the sequel.
That's right.
Because he's doing Black Phone, which we need to get our asses to the theaters and see when that shit comes out. Joe Hill, Ethan Hawke, and Scott Derrickson, we're signed up. I mean, we're not, but if you could sign us up right now, we're signed up.
And Robert Carlyle did the screenplay.
Oh, Jesus! There you go. There you see. That was a fact. I didn't look too much into Black Phone yet, so I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so
the writers. Yeah, I have it here. The writers are Scott Derrickson, Robert Carlyle, and Joe Hill.
Oh, geez. Well, that's just. So you got the crew that wrote Sinister.
Well, Joe Hill did the short story for it.
He was based on that, though. So
and then Scott and Robert Carlyle did the screenplay.
So you have the team who did Sinister adapting a Joe Hill story.
And James Ransone's in it.
I mean, that's just check. Sign me up. Yeah, I can't wait.
When is this coming out?
I think January. I'm probably dead wrong. I think it's like the end of January.
February 4th.
Okay, I said end of January. I was close. Okay. Yeah, so we're definitely going to have to check that out.
All right, I think now's about a good time we can wrap it up here.
Yeah, I think it's a good time.
Yeah. So next week we're going to have our season finale with Chris Alexander, and we'll talk about his short film, It Knows You're Alone, available on Full Moon Features. Make sure to get your subscription for Full Moon Features. It's well worth it. And after that episode, we'll be back in full swing. We're going to take a little break. We'll be back with you January 10th, 2022. But in the meantime, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at High on Horror 420. We're going to pop up time to time with special episodes. For example, Monday, November 29th, we'll have a review of Resident Evil Raccoon City for you. Make sure to check out our website, highonhorror.com, and you can sign up for our newsletter, and you can get episodes, announcements delivered directly to your inbox. And also, send your questions to us for Puff Puff Ass for next season on social media, our website, or our email, highonhorror420@gmail.com. And I guess that'll about wrap her up. Catch you later.
Bye, everybody.